Hey everyone, Paul here from FamilyWheels.ca. I hope you're having a great holiday season, a little bit of R&R in between Christmas and New Year's. And today marks a pretty important day for us here at Family Wheels because, well, for a couple of reasons. First up, this week we've officially surpassed the 1 million views mark on our YouTube channel. That's thanks to you and our 5,000 subscribers, so thanks for tuning in each week and getting a sense for what we think of all the vehicles that we test. Second reason why today is a big day is because it's our annual Family Wheels Best Cars of the Year award. We get behind a lot of vehicles, and here are the ones that really stood out for us and really rose to the top. We broke it down into categories, and the first category is biggest surprise, and that goes to the 2016 Mazda CX-9. It was redesigned for 2016 with these amazing roadster-inspired exterior lines. It looks so sexy from the outside, but once you step inside, it's also way more roomy than you might expect. 7-passenger seating comes standard, and even that third row is much more spacious than many of its competitors, despite its sort of compact, sporty-looking lines from the outside. It has a new 2.5-liter turbocharged engine, which I thought might be a bit of a dog of a car for a vehicle of this size that just wouldn't be quite enough engine. But it was zippy, it was fun, yet it was also incredibly fuel efficient with an average over the week of our driving of 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is very respectable for a 7-passenger SUV. Then there was the interior on the CX-9, which is why this vehicle also wins our Best Interior of the Year award. While standard equipment is very competitive, it's the attention to detail that we saw in the top of the line signature trim that we were driving around in the week of testing that we had this vehicle. It was incredible. At just over $50,000, this vehicle was punching way above its weight class into companies' luxury SUV territory, vehicles that might cost $25,000, $30,000 more than this signature level trim of the CX-9. We had things like Napa leather seating surfaces. It's the highest level leather that Mazda's ever used in any of its vehicles. We had, according to Mazda, rosewood, open pore rosewood, which has actually been sourced from a Japanese guitar maker. Gorgeous wood, the kind of touches that I would have expected to see in a Volvo XC90, for example. How this car drove, how it was in terms of fuel efficiency, the space that you had on the inside, and then that beautiful interior as well. The CX-9, very much a pleasant surprise. Let's move on now to the best new car, which goes to the 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. The Pacifica was rebooted in 2017, replacing a kind of failed attempt at another Pacifica from Chrysler in the early 2000s. That was a 7-passenger SUV. Well, the Pacifica is now a minivan, and Devin and I were of those many families out there who've said to ourselves over the years that we would never go down the minivan road. And the Pacifica kind of had us second guessing ourselves there. We both loved the supportive seats, the pretty classy interior, the surprisingly sporty ride on the Pacifica as well. This monstrous cargo capacity. Of course, the Pacifica has stow-and-go seating that we've seen in Chrysler and Dodge minivans for a long time now. And clever little touches all throughout the cabin, like a fold-away roof rack system, optional built-in vacuum cleaner, enough USB ports to charge a small town smartphones. I swear, so many of these things. Even a spot right by the driver's seat where you can put a wet umbrella so you don't get the rest of the cabin wet. Clever little touches that had us second guessing our boycott on the minivan. The Pacifica was a really nice surprise for 2017. Next up is our Best Value Award, and we're actually giving this one to 2 vehicles, both of which happen to be Honda vehicles. We got into the 2017 Honda Ridgeline a couple of weeks ago and really liked what we saw there in terms of value. But first up, let's talk about the 2016 Honda Civic. That won the North American Car of the Year award, and it's no wonder. Honda has really upped its game in terms of what you're getting from its vehicles. The new Civic looks great with a price starting at just under 16 grand, but it was the top of the line touring trim that most impressed us. At $26,900, we had a peppy new 1.5-liter turbocharged engine on board, leather seating surfaces, soft touch surfaces throughout, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, even a camera mounted on the right side mirror that displays what's in your blind spot whenever you turn your right turn indicator on. Really clever little touches here at a very impressive competitive price. Then there's the Ridgeline from Honda, which has been redesigned for 2017. And once you get it through your mind that this isn't meant to be a hardcore truck, that it's meant more for people who want to drive this vehicle around the city all the time and occasionally throw something into the box, then you start to realize how good this vehicle really is. It's smooth, it's quiet, it feels more like a Honda Accord than a big pickup truck, but it still has a pretty respectable 1,600 pound payload capacity and 5,000 pound towing capacity. So you can still do a lot with the Ridgeline despite the fact that it doesn't feel like a big rumbling truck. My wife really appreciated that, by the way. She normally hates driving around in big clunky pickup trucks when we're testing them, but she really liked driving the Ridgeline. But it's the Ridgeline standard equipment that really impressed me. Starting at $36,590, the Ridgeline includes all-wheel drive, a 7-inch infotainment system, backup camera, remote starter, push-button start, heated front seats, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, forward automatic braking. I could go on here. It's a very impressive list. And in fact, we had the top of the line touring trim at $47,000. But if it were me and my money, there's so much kit on that lowest level trim of the Ridgeline. I'd say save your dough and go for that one. It's amazing to see what Honda has done over the last couple of years in terms of what you're getting for your dollar. And these vehicles both also include, by the way, a top Safety Pick Plus rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, so you're going to know that they're safe vehicles for cruising around with your family in too. Okay, the most fun vehicle that we tested this past year has got to be the 2016 Ford Mustang. I had my tongue firmly planted in my cheek for this review. It's not much of a family car, but holy cow, was it a riot. The Mustang was redesigned for 2015, and this makes it the 6th generation of the Mustang. Man, does it ever look good. And it has a fun to dollar ratio that's hard to beat. You can get into a Mustang for under $26,000. The tester that we were driving around for the week was the GT edition in yellow and a convertible. You can't get much more ridiculous than that. It had a 5-liter V8 on board with bottomless power. It was loud, it was fun. I couldn't wipe the 8-year-old grin off my face all week. And yes, in case you're wondering, you can fit a car seat into the second row of the Mustang, but you might just have a bit of a hard time convincing your partner that it really is much of a family hauler. Such a fun car though. Moving on to a car that was a real disappointment. Our biggest disappointment award for this past year goes to the 2017 Prius V. Now I was really excited to get in the Prius V. It's a station wagon with the same kind of trunk space that we see in the Subaru Outback with fuel economy that's really hard to beat. No wonder cabbies have really fallen in love with this car since it was first released in 2012. But it was a massive disappointment for me. While the Prius liftback, that traditional Prius that we've seen pave the way for the hybrid movement, got a total redesign for 2016, making it zippier, making it more efficient than ever. The Prius V is pretty much the same car that we've seen since its launch in 2012. The interior feels cheap, it's very noisy, the seats are not at all supportive, it's a total snoozer to drive, and its fuel efficiency isn't keeping up with the Prius. 6.3 liters per 100 kilometers over our week of testing versus the 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers coming out of that liftback edition of the Prius. It's the future of Toyota, whereas the Prius V really does feel like you're looking back in time, and it has me wondering whether that vehicle is going to be around much longer. Finally, I want to talk about the vehicle that we really did not want to give the keys back to. This is our biggest nod of the year, I'd say, because it's an all-around vehicle that worked really well for our family, was interesting to drive, and really made us smile through the week as well. And it goes to the 2017 Audi SQ5. This is a choice that might come as a bit of a surprise, given that the Q5 is starting to look pretty dated at this point, with no big changes over the last few years. The interior technology is lagging behind. Its exterior needs a refresh, but man, was it a fun car. You put your foot down in the SQ5 and you won't think that you're driving around in a pretty big 5-passenger SUV with excellent second row comfort and pretty impressive cargo capacity. The supercharged 3-liter engine in this thing delivers gobs of power right off the line. The sport-tuned suspension keeps the SQ5 riding flat through windy country roads. big chunky brakes bring you to a sudden, satisfying stop. Meanwhile, the SQ5 has Audi's amazing all-wheel drive system. It still has a top Safety Pick Plus rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and it can still tow 4,400 pounds. So you really can have it all with the SQ5. But be prepared for some changes in 2018 because the Q5 is getting a complete redesign. That means that the infotainment system, which really is looking old school at this point, as well as the instrument cluster right in front of the driver, they should all get a reboot. I'm wondering if we'll see a similar kind of system as that virtual cockpit in the Audi Q7, which we drove around a few months ago and was really class leading in terms of what you're getting right in front of you there for a driver's perspective. Also, the exterior should be refreshed and looking a little bit more modern too. The downside to the 2018 for a lot of people is that the Q5 production is getting moved over to Mexico. And that means that if you're a little bit worried about what that could mean for quality, that you've still got a little bit of time to get into a German-made Q5 while these 2017s are still on the lot. The good news is that there is an SQ5 version of the new Mexican-made Q5 coming out, as well as an RQ5, which is an even more insane sport-tuned version of the Q5. We've got a lot of exciting things coming down the line for that vehicle. We'll just have to wait and see what Mexican production does for the Q5. And that is our list of favorite vehicles from this past year. Some real gems in there. It's been fun. And if you like what you're watching, please make sure to subscribe. And if you're a longtime subscriber, then thanks for all your support because it's you guys who've gotten us to 1 million views. Now, if you're wondering how this whole YouTube thing works, how I get paid at the end of the day for what I do here, it all comes down to ad clicks. It's not over views. It's not about subscriber numbers. It's how many people click through on the ads that pop up on the screen. So if you have a moment, you want me to keep churning out these reviews, and you want to throw a couple of dollars in my pocket, then maybe click on a couple of ads. It would be a great help. Next time I see you on the program, we are going to be in the new 2017 Ford F-350 Super Duty pickup truck, a great big beast of a truck. It's gotten more efficient and more capable than ever. Let's see how that one stacks up, not just for work life. A lot of people are going to be using it as a trades vehicle, but also as a family truck. That's next time I see you in a couple of weeks from now. Until then, Happy New Year, and thanks again for all your support in 2016.